Trump is not sleeping. And this insomnia of Trump has both inspired and alarmed all. The leaders of Europe, they finally gathered. They finally gathered and cobbled together an imperfect, but rather cold-blooded and realistic, gathered in Kyiv, a very realistic ceasefire plan. Trump reviewed it. It must be said he didn't fall asleep, but he did yawn, and his yawning was approving. This greatly inspired both Macron and Merz and Starmer and Tusk, and they published this plan immediately. Naturally, Moscow responded, and of course the smartest and most clear-headed was entrusted with responding. Naturally, Medvedev. He suggested that the European peacekeepers shove this peace plan up there, as he put it, pan-gender behinds. That is, it is clear that we are not talking about some kind of world. Peace has a simple recipe. It's the borders of 2014. It's a cage for Putin. It's punishment for Russia and its dismantling. But at the very least, we're talking about a prolonged intermission, which should be the result of a 30-day truce. But the Washington Badger is in distress. It has dawned on him that, in general, the Kremlin patient is most likely incurable, and his illness is much more severe than Trump thought during the election campaign. And those who gathered in Kyiv, well, it must be said, at first they assembled in their usual manner, and it was so dreary that it wasn't even worth talking about, like a conversation between giraffes. After all, a politician is someone who is the last to catch on to anything. But then they pulled themselves together because Trump's insomnia worried and need spurred everyone on. And they mobilized, fully aware of all the quirks and whims of the Kremlin ghoul. At first, these whims were expressed as best he could by Medvedev, and now Peskov has poured out yet another puddle of murky lies. Although, of course, for Putin, this is not the time to show off. Despite the fake triumph of his parade, it should be understood that right now all the patriots of Russia are sniffing around his spoils, Putin's spoils. And they realize that this little piece of Donbas, bitten off from peaceful neighbors in a 3-year bloody slaughter, doesn't amount to any kind of victory at all. Nevertheless, Putin stands his ground. And the Kremlin will not allow what is called, right? The Kremlin will never voluntarily interrupt the act of war. And it is just as hard to persuade them even to take an intermission as it is to convince a maniac to stop his thrusts by offering him an ice cream bar instead. Especially now when Putin has become inspired and feels almost like a legitimate world figure again, because, as they say, it has happened. The final mutation of Victory Day has taken place. In the death show, the Kremlin's patient managed to instill real horror. And let's note that overall, he pretty much succeeded. The Chinese infantry marching across Red Square, the Egyptian military police, Russian convicts from the special military operation, they all merged into a huge, hollow-eyed woman with a scythe who rose above Red Square to show humanity the middle finger. Here you go, world. Well, in any case, everyone already understands everything. And Putin's circus on May 9th is a direct and clear declaration of Russia's need to continue killing, occupations, and internal repression. And the so-called, as they like to say, Great Patriotic War is just a pretext. It's simply a formal excuse to once again tell the world that peace should not be expected as long as the Russian Federation exists. Yes, this entire performance on Red Square has a slimy and festering underside. And the Victory Day itself already reeks of millions of corpses, of the million senseless, as Trump says, stupid special military operation deaths. But as they say, for some it reeks, while for others it's the scent of Chanel number 5. And Putin, squeezing his new friend Xi on the podium, was openly savoring the scent of his own deeds. But where this old bedbug gets such a thirst for blood from, we still don't know. And to find that out, a full, comprehensive, and prolonged clinical examination of the patient is necessary. But right now, that's practically impossible to carry out.